Tonight, we head off to the Spanish Grand Prix, round 5 of our Monday night DRS Championship. Last week saw us at Mexico, and it was our reverse grid from the results at Monaco, which was the reverse grid sprint to start with, followed by the feature race. Now, the sprint was an unbelievable race, unbelievable. And we had some really good battles. There were some people that were low down the grid who made up some incredible places, and was a lot of clean racing in the sprint. We had 2 people that unfortunately DNF'd, Al Newt being one of them, and 50 Gents of the AlphaTauri and the Merc. Not too sure what happened to either of them, so not too sure why they DNF'd, but the sprint winner was Simon, who started from 10th position. Now, funny enough, fun fact for you, we've done 6 sprint races in DRS. I won the first one in Monza. Smug won the second, which was Abu Dhabi. And then ever since that, Simon has won the remaining. So Simon's won 4. Austria, France, Bahrain, and Mexico. And obviously we go to another one later on in the season. So I wonder if Simon's also then going to take that. So some good facts there, some good stats for Simon, 4 out of 6. And he actually took P2 in the Monza Grand Prix as well, in the Monza sprint race. So did well there. Miller took P2 and started P2 on the grids and got overtaken just at the DRS straight, the final DRS straight. So just as you get into sector 3, went a bit deep, Simon took him. So very, very unfortunate there, but did very well, held a good pace in the sprint and picked up some good points as well for Red Bull. Colin took P3, started 14th on the grid and was running a very, very low downforce setup. So was able to take that top speed, and you could tell when you were following him on those straights that he had the top speed over everybody else. The rest of the grid went myself in 4th, Brad in 5th, Skippy in 6th. So some really good points there for Ham. That was always going to determine what you were going to run in the feature race. Most people opt in to go for the softs, run them through, and then in the most people opt in for the softs in the sprint race. A couple of people went for the hards, and then 1 or 2 for the mediums. That then meant that you had a selection of pretty much every single tyre. So if you went for the softs, you had a selection of every single tyre to use. If you went for the hards, you had an extra set of softs to use. And same if you went for the mediums, you had an extra set of softs to use. So most people starting on the mediums for the feature race, which I think was the right strategy, starting on the mediums, and then Majority of people then switched to the hards later on, or some people went for a soft and then a soft. So two sets of softs, which also proved to be quite a strong strategy. It was just all about timing. Unfortunately, we lost 2 drivers from the race, Levi being the first, and then Syme, the winner of the sprint, being the second. Now, it was shaping up to be an epic battle between Brad, Colin, myself, Simon and Max. Unfortunately, 2 cars going into the sector 2 S's just doesn't work. One car is always going to come away worse than the other, and where the barriers are, it's always going to end in a DNF. So unfortunately, we saw Simon crash out and pick up a DNF. Brad went on to win the race. However, because he overtook King Kong under the safety car, which is the league rules, you're not allowed to do that, even though the game told him to do it. Everybody's listened and paid attention to the rules and been in this league long enough to know you don't do that. So unfortunately, he incurred a 30-second time penalty. Then it was followed by Real Max Weld, but he had 3 seconds worth of time penalties. Then it was myself. So I overtook him. I took P1. Max took P2. Colin was actually P3 with his 6-second time penalty that he had. However, the penalty that he incurred for the collision with Simon dropped him down into P7. So Senna, the Pro-Am driver, took the final podium step with an incredible drive. And I think him and Max would have, on any normal day, taken driver of the day. However, due to a driver that's new to the league finally finishing a race, which is never easy to do when you start league racing, they've missed out. But both of them, massive shout out, including Joker as well. So I think Senna, Max, Joker and Colin all deserve massive shout outs for their drive. And you could also mention Speedy Bullet there as well for a brilliant drive. So the grid finished myself, Max, Senna, top 3. Joker was P4, Brad P5, Miller P6, Colin P7, Smug P8, Speedy Bullet P9, Skippy P10, which saw Senna take P1 in the Pro-Am, Speedy Bullet take P2 in the Pro-Am, and then Skippy take P3 in the Pro-Am. Now, once again, Haas getting some savage points there. Really, really good points for the Haas team. And the championship tables are looking unbelievably close. So the Drivers' Championship, which we'll focus on first, has put me up to P1 with Brad Mason just 5 points off of me and Syme 10 points off of Brad, so 15 points off of me. For the time being on the Drivers' Championship, everyone else is kind of in that 30 bracket away from it. So I think we'll just leave it there. It looks like it's going to be potentially a 3-horse base race with Max now looking to creep into that as well. So it's looking very, very close between us at the top there. Next, we have the Pro-Am Championship. Now, Senna is he's a pro driver. He's unbelievable. It's just the typical thing of the Pro-Am driver always wins and ends up becoming a pro driver at the end, which is what we want. We want the Pro-Ams to step up to the pro, and Senna's doing exactly what King Kong and what Miller did. You start as a Pro-Am, and by the end of it, by the middle of the season, you're ready for the Pro League. So Senna's currently on 76 points, and he's a whole race win ahead of Skippy, who's P2, who's driving unbelievable this season in terms of his positioning. Sometimes can be a little bit aggressive on track, so might just need to watch where he's braking. But he's had some really good results with a P2 and 2 P3s. That sent him rocket up there into second place. Saints, he's then 3 points off of Skippy in third, only having 1 P2 currently, but still. Again, we said it before, he's always in and around, so the consistency is keeping him in there. He's always the guy you don't think of, but sort of sneaks in there. 50 Gents, again, 3 points off of him, so he's in fourth. Ninja, who has dropped down, so he's now 5 points behind 50. He's in fifth place with 40 points, but had a bit of a mare in Mexico, so I think he's got better races to come, which will keep him in that battle. Al Newt didn't have a great race. So that kind of slumped him down a little bit. He's now P6 with 32 points. Easy Life is just a further 2 points below him in 7th place. And then we've got some reserves that have come in there, so we won't worry too much about those positions. But at the moment, currently, Levi is at the bottom of the table. However, he has finally hit the points with his sprint last place finish in the sprint points, so finally gets into that. We go into the pro driver standings. So me up there at 75 points. 3 points behind me is Brad in that championship, and then 15 points off me is Sime. So again, myself, Brad and Sime in that sort of 3-horse race, which I do think is going to go down to the wire and is going to be an incredible battle between us. The one that is looking amazing to me is the constructors battle. So Haas with Brad and Skippy are just, they look like the team that are going to take this. They're on 133 points and they look fantastic as a team in terms of the points that they're scoring. P2 is the AlphaTauris, myself and Al Newt, 26 points off of them. But with some consistent drives, there's no reason we couldn't close that. Alfa Romeo of Smug and Senna are 37 points in total off of P1. Now, bearing in mind, Senna's getting a lot of those points. When Smug hits a run of form, which will happen, it will come, those points are going to be raking in for that team, for the Alfa Romeos. They're going to close that gap for sure. 6 points off of them is Williams of Simon and Easy Life. Now, bearing in mind, Simon took a DNF, so 0 points there, and Easy Life finished near on last in Mexico. So they didn't take a lot of points from that race, and they're 43 points off of P1. But had they both have taken some points, they would be right up there in the mix of P2, P3. So again, still got more to come from them. McLaren on 89 points, just 44 points off of P1. They now have a new teammate in Max. So Hayam Ash has now stepped away and Max has come into that seat. And I think they are also going to be one of them teams we've all got to keep an eye on, because Max does look unbelievable, looks rapid, can overtake people, can put his car pole position. We've all seen it. Has sometimes got a mistake in him, which all the title runners will be glad to hear, but does look brilliant. And as long as Ninja can keep that consistency as well, then they are strong title contenders in the long run. 10 points off of them is Mercedes. 50 Jet doing really well to sort of keep in that battle. And then Joker with a very, very dodgy equipment at the moment. His wheel is not up to standard, is not working how it should work. Honestly, if you guys would see what he's having to put up with, you would think, mate, you deserve driver of the day every single day. I cannot stress to you how bad his wheel is, and the fact that he's able to still finish races is a miracle, let alone finish high up, fight, have battles, do quali. He's honestly, that is no mean feat. So fair play to him for that. 4 points off of them is then Aston Martin in 7th place, followed by the Red Bull, 15 points off of them. And then currently at the bottom, we have the Alpine and the Ferrari. Again, Roddy and Colin just getting a bit unlucky in their seats. And then the Ferrari of Levi he's just having a bit of a mare this season at the start. But we all know what Levi can do, and we all know that Levi has got a performance in him. And I think once he hits, Spain's a good track for him, which is tonight's race. So I can see him doing well there. And I think sometimes you do just fall out of love of it. Once I think he gets that love back, I have no doubt in my mind that he will be back. He will be performing. And to be honest, I think we need the Levi of old back, because we need someone to challenge Senna. So hopefully Levi and King Kong and a couple of others can get that reign of form back under their belts, because we don't want Senna to have a nice, easy finish to the season. So come on, Pro-Ams, let's get up there, let's get in, and let's make Senna have to work for this title, because he's at the moment driving unbelievably. Right, we go off to the Spanish Grand Prix. Good luck, everybody, and I will see you on track.
Good evening and welcome to another DRS race build-up, and this time we're in Spain. So round five already. Where has the time gone? Nearly halfway through, and it's becoming very much a 3-horse race at the front, with Simon, Brad, and Swanton all leading the way. But will that be the same tonight? Spain, we've been here 4 times with DRS, and we've had 4 different winners. The only people to have been on the podium twice aren't currently active drivers for us. So it is a bit of an open playing field tonight, and it could go either way. The circuit, as we know, can cause multiple strategies, 2 stops, 1 stops, long stints. It can rain, safety cars. There's a 50% chance tonight that we're going to get a safety car, 25% chance of rain. So there's a lot of variables in there, and the circuit itself is a circuit that draws you into the corners, draws you into the overtakes, and then they disappear. That long run down to turn 1, perfect opportunity, overtaking opportunity. But if you're not in a good position when you get to turn 1, you can clip the curb, you can brake too late and go on the outside, you can lose it. Multiple times we see drivers spinning through that turn 1, turn 2 section just because they're taking too much curb or getting a bit greedy on the throttle. But yeah, like I said, 4 races, 4 different winners. Symes won 1. Swanton's never won here, so perhaps tonight could be his night. Brad's never won here. We've had Joker take a victory here before. Symes took 1. MK5, UJ's took 1. So yeah, it could go anyway. So let's have a look at the circuit. So around since early 2000s, 2006, I think it was first launched. But they changed it this season. Obviously, got rid of that chicane in the last sector, and that chicane just makes the laps so much smoother, so much quicker as well. It took about 5-6 seconds out of the lap time. But we've got 2 DRS zones. DRS zone in sector 2. Going into sector 3, so you're going up the hill after a quick chicane. Detection point's halfway up the hill, and then you're going down towards the turn 10 with DRS wide open to a very tricky corner. Even though it's been reprofiled over the last few years, it's still a tricky one to get the braking right and the traction right, with some sausage curbs on the left, a high curb that will ruin your traction on the right. It's very difficult. Then you go sweeping through that sector 3. Around the edge now, forget the chicane, it's pretty much flat out with the detection zone just before the final corner. For DRS zone 2, which starts just before the start and finish line and runs all the way down there, down the start and finish straight, where you can look at getting speeds of over 200 miles an hour depending on your setup. So 14 corners now. First part of the circuit is uphill, second part's downhill. Challenging corners all over, like I said. 4.5 mile circuit, or is it 4.5 kilometre? Can never quite remember that. But a circuit that is very tough on tyres. Tyre stress is one of the hardest around here because of those long sweeping corners. The left hand side of the car, the tyres take such a pounding. You'll come out of turn 3 and they'll be burning hot. They'll be 105, 110 degrees. And then it's the middle part of the circuit where you're trying to cool them down before you get back towards the final few corners, turn 13, where again you're putting all the load on that side of the car again. So tyre stress and tyre wear is immense. In terms of downforce, you can go any way you want really in downforce. It depends where you want the speed. Do you want the speed down the straights and down the DRS for those easy overtakes, or do you want to be comfortable and strong through the middle sectors and help you get that traction and get that speed, or get close to the car in front so you can utilize DRS a bit more? I think we'll see a mix of wing levels tonight. I really do. Some people going high, 40s, 45s, 46s on the fronts. But then there'll be some risking it, mid 30s on the front wing, early 30s on the rear. Could be brilliant down the straights, but I think on the flip side of that, it's also going to burn the tyres up quite a lot, because you're going to be sliding a lot more. You're going to be sliding through those corners in Sector 2 and the beginning of Sector 3 a lot more than you will be if you had a high downforce. So it's hard to know where to go. Let's have a look at a hot lap. This is Carlos Sainz. I don't even think it's from F1 23. I think it's from iRacing or something. So enjoy. So, how are you going to start? What's the grid going to look like? I can see the grid really being very similar to what it has been all season so far, apart from our reverse grid, obviously. I can see Simon, Brad Mason up there within tenths of each other, Swanton very close behind, and then the rest of the pros, Joker, myself, Mr. Pickle, filling up those remaining gaps, depending on people's availability. But off the start, anything could happen. Is P1 the place to be off the start here? Looking at some other race starts, P1, yeah, twice it made it into turn 1, but it's so close and it's relying on that person in P2 chickening out, basically backing out of turn 1 and letting P1 take the space, take the limit around that corner. If P2 gets a good start, the run down to turn 1 is pretty easy. You can close off the inside, you can make P1 really struggle and really think brake early or brake too late, and you can get a clean run through that from P2 on the grid. But with such a long run down to turn 1, it opens up for P3, P4. You're running a lower wing or get a better start, slipstream down there. If you can find the gap, you can get through and you can come out of turn 3 in the lead quite easily. With the Pro-Ams, Senna obviously leading the way at the moment in the Pro-Ams, but is that about to change? Skippy, 50, all will be knocking on the door around here. Levi is so strong around this circuit. If he's not scoring points and if he's not up there, I don't know what he's holding back for, what he's struggling with. But he's been so strong around here and in the past and should be scoring points. So hopefully he is up there with Senna, 50, really challenging for that win in the Pro-Ams and really putting pressure on Senna because, my God, he needs it. He needs the pressure. So who's going to qualify the highest? Who's going to finish the highest? Like I say, strategy is going to be key tonight. Do you go long? Do you go short? 2 stops definitely not the way to go unless there's safety cars. But you can go long. You can push it out. You can use other people to your advantage. Because if you get stuck behind cars after your pit stop, it can kill your time. It can really punish you. And it certainly helped me out in another race where I did, I think, 30 laps on a set of hard tyres to finish P2. It was because drivers pitted and got stuck behind other people who hadn't pitted, and that slowed them down. And that allowed me and Levi at that time, because Levi was following me around, my teammate, to really stick it out and really try and maximise that after a first lap incident that cost me a bit of damage. So, without any more chat, let's head off and see Blobby Butter in his bedroom. Hopefully he's changed his sheets this week for the DRS Spanish Grand Prix.
New beginnings with Barclays Life Skills. And join the million.
Reverse grids are only on a Thursday, so settle in and get ready. We will, of course, follow this with Blobby Mondays as we go to the last 3 races of the season. And we will be in Shanghai tonight, in China. Seats are going fast in Blobby Monday Season 2, which will start on the 19th of February. So if you want in, get in quick. Give us a message. I will post the Discord in chat in a minute. If Stacey's around, she will maybe do that for me. Good evening, Cam. Welcome in. Is tonight the night for your win?
Blob, are you, mate? Flexed biceps, how are you?
Hello to Noodles in the chat. Of course, made his debut here in DRS on the Extreme version on Thursday. Didn't go too well, but he'll be back this coming week for another go, I'm sure. Just 3 races left as Noodles continues to chase down Baker for the title as the Red Bulls try to close out the constructors, hopefully. And anything can happen. China, France and Portugal remain there. But we are in Spain. Good evening to Baza in the chat over on the DRS channel. We are multi-streaming as usual on both. Just realised my cam position is in a bit of a dodgy place for the grid slots, which I don't know if I can move down. Let's see if I can move it. Here we go, I can move it. Actually, can I move it? I don't know what I'm doing with this. It's not that one. I want layout race. I want layout to be. Don't really know what I'm doing with these.
K waving hand.
Hello to Stacey in the chat. If you could punch a link for the Discord into chat, I will be greatly appreciative. I'm pressing all kinds of buttons I don't know what I'm doing with really. So that's going to be annoying. Let's instead stick my face over the other side. Let's stick me over there. That's better. Now then. Who have we got? We've got Sainsy on an outlap. I haven't got the track map and lap data enabled properly.
Hi, got you,
lap
Brad.
data. Hello Jonathan, thank you as always. Sainsy out on medium tyres at the moment. So we need gap and fastest lap. Everybody out quite lively today. 19 of them on the grid. Just missing a McLaren, it looks like. I think Sainsy was the first one out, so he'll be the first one to set his time. There he goes. In fact, Syme was, and Syme sets a 1:11.7. See what Sainsy can do. He does a 1:14.1. So a nice big gap for Syme there. And a good opening banker lap for him. Here is Brad. Levi does a 1:14.2. Miller a 1:12.4. Brad a 1:11.9. Some others out on track. There's Senna 1:15.8. King Kong 1:19. Mr. Pickle 1:13.2 goes to P4. Sloth 1:13.3 to P5. Here is Smug. As Colin does a 1:12.4, going ahead of his former teammate Miller Vanilla. Smug to P5 with a 1:12.
Come on! Good work everywhere. Strong. Well done on the power. On you. Keep it going.
Who else is out on track? Ninjas. As Levi goes to P3 with a 1:12.2. Big lap from him. Ferrari up to P3. King Kong now with a 1:12.2. Mr. Pickle puts the other Ferrari on the front row. 1:11.9 for him. As round the final corner comes Ninjas with a 1:13.7. He's P10. So the AlphaTauris and Mercedes yet to get involved, as well as Roddy the Kid, last week's driver of the day, and new subscriber to the Blobby channel, so thanks again to Roddy for that. He's on his outlap along with the AlphaTauris. I'm leaning forward too far again, and I'm just going to post the Discord link into the chat. There we go. There we go. Stacey's done that. Thank you. Join the Discord if you would like to join in with the streams.
Sorry, was playing Fortnite when you asked. Face with tears of joy. Face with tears of joy.
Whether that's joining us on Fortnite, as you may have seen, they're getting bossed around a little bit the other day, or whether you want to join in F1 socials, which are coming soon, or the new F1 League, of course, do join in the Discord and give us a shout. Swanson just staying out of the way at this stage. He does like to double up his outlaps. So here's his teammate Al Newt. At the moment it's Syme from Mr. Pickle and Brad. They are the top three and they are inside the 1:12 mark. And it's Sloth, Levi, King Kong, Colin, Miller Vanilla, all within the 1:12.5. And Smug and Skippy. Here's Al Newt, a 1:13.4 for him, and P12 at the moment. Roddy the Kid, a 1:13.8, that's P14. Swanson, I'll ignore whatever time this is going to say. because I think he's about to start his flyer. Indeed, 1:26.5, ignore that. Joker now on his way as well, and 50 Gent also. So the Mercedes, the last to set a time. They're both now on their way. Swanson, however, flash of purple in Sector 1. So we will stay with Swanson here. Brad there sets the fastest lap. Goes to pole, 1:11.6. What's Swanson going to do? He gets a very near indeed, 1:11.6. Just behind Brad. Both 1:11.6s there. Where are the Mercedes going? Joker, 1:12.3 puts him P8, and 50, 1:12.9 puts him P13. And we're about halfway through. So Brad taking provisional pole there from Syme. And then Swanson plopping himself in between them on the front row. Here is Smug. A few drivers out on track. Here's Senna coming up to the line. And he goes right up to P5. 1:12.0 for Senna. And he goes from last right the way up to P5. Good lap for him. There's a McLaren that's off, and there's only one McLaren out there, so that must be Ninjas. Smug runs it a little wide. And into the pit lane comes Smug. Not many now out on track at all. Here's Syme. Flash of purple in Sector 2 for Syme. Can he improve on his 1:11.7 and get back onto the front row? Syme to the line. Does improve ever so slightly. 1:11.7 is still his time. So not many out on track now. Our Newt is just starting another flyer, so let's go with him. Currently in P16. The AlphaTauri. Just 5 minutes left now of the qualifying session.
Keep an eye out for action in turn 1. This is the primary overtaking spot to Catalonia, as it's a heavy braking zone at the end of the long DRS straight.
Here goes Al Newt to the line. And no improvement this time for him. So who else is out and about? We have got Roddy the Kid coming around towards the end of the lap. We'll try and focus on the end of the lap now as drivers hit the line and try and improve. Roddy the Kid. No improvement there. That's Skippy. 1:12.9 is his time. Let's see who else is out and about. Joker. Al Newt there up to P10. 1:12.3 for Al Newt. Easy Life up as well to P16. 1:13.2 for Easy Life. Ferrari on an out lap, as is King Kong. That's Levi just going by. Ninja's starting a lap. As is Sainsy. Pretty much everybody's starting laps right now. Is Roddy having another go, or is he going to the pits? He's having another go. And doesn't climb off the bottom, does improve to 1:13.6. We've got a Williams coming around, that's Easy Life. He's just getting out of people's way. That's Swanton. In fact, it was Al Newt. Mr. Pickle's on a good one. Levi has invalidated. And King Kong didn't improve. Neither did Ninjas. Senna didn't improve. Swanton also didn't improve on that occasion. Sloth currently 6th. Sainsy off into the pit lane. Brad starting his final attempt. Just a minute left in the session now. Mr. Pickle was on a good one and has now slowed right down. That's a 11.9 for him. He's still in P4. We're going to try and get them as they hit the line. Syme. He might be away for another go. King Kong coming around the last corner. And climbs to P5. 1:11.9 for King Kong. Ninjas. There goes Smug. Well, that was Senna pitting. Good evening, Webster. We won't have such bad football teams in my chat. But Sainsy is out. Brad has taken a bit more time off of his pole time. And let's see who is going to challenge.
Rolling on the floor laughing, rolling on the floor laughing.
Brad is getting his tyre off out of the way. Syme's going into the pits. Mr. Pickle, I think, has already had his go. Colin's been disconnected. I'm very well indeed, Webster. Just ending the qualifying session here. And it looks like Brad Mason has done enough to take pole. Sloth is still out there. Collins back in. Sloth hits the line and P4 for Sloth. 111.8 for Sloth. Joker is not going to improve. So Sloth with the big climb in the final set, in the final lap there. But Brad Mason takes pole for Haas ahead of Swanton's AlphaTauri, or VCarb as it will be known next season. Then it is Symes Williams and Sloth in the Aston Martin takes P4. Great final lap by him. Mr. Pickle is P5 for Ferrari, and King Kong in P6 for Red Bull, followed by the Alfa Romeos of Smug and Senna, Colin in P9 and Levi in P10. Then it was Joker, Al Newt, Miller Vanilla, Skippy, 50 Gent, Easy Life, Ninja, Sainsy and Roddy the Kid. Interestingly, Sainsy saving the soft tyres. Speedy Bullet says, can he get an invite or is he too late? He's just getting home. I'm not sure. Smug, if you're listening, watching, then please do advise. Here we see the pit lane in sunny Spain. And we have a little break now before the formation lap, so drivers can get their strategies and fuel loads underway and sorted. At which point I'm going to dive in to the championship standings. And in the Pro-Am, Senna has a 25-point lead on Skippy. Then it's Sainsy and 50 Gent from Ninjas. Al Newt and Easy Life. We're down to Levi, who's got just 1 point at the moment. The Pro standing sees Swanton take the lead. After Mexico, Swanton leading from Brad Mason. Syme in third. Then a big gap back to Miller Vanilla, Max World, Joker. And where are the constructors? Haas lead the way from AlphaTauri, 26 points back. Alfa Romeo are in third from Williams and McLaren, who are tight. Then Mercedes and Aston Martin. Red Bull, Alpine and Ferrari battling to avoid last place at the moment. Senna is actually into 5th place in the drivers' standings. The overall standings, this is. Swanson leads, Brad Mason second, Syme in third, and Max World is up in 4th in that particular championship. He is the missing driver today, as we have a vacant McLaren. That brings you up to date. We've got 33 laps of the Circuit de Catalunya ahead of us. Of course, many people will know already that this track is going to be another one consigned to the history books in terms of the F1 calendar. Once the street track in Madrid is begun. They do seem, the FIA, to want more street tracks and less proper race circuits. as they've seen with the move to Las Vegas. And we will be going to Madrid rather than Catalonia in a few years' time, unless, of course, they make it 2 Spanish Grand Prix, as there are 2 Italian and 3 American these days. Though Imola will forever be San Marino to me. And of course, we did have Valencia on the calendar for a little while for the what was called the European Grand Prix, that also took place at the Nürburgring and some others, when there were 2 tracks in Germany active on the calendar. None now, of course. Hockenheimring as well as the Nürburgring, both not being added to the calendar. Here we go for the formation lap, and I'll take you through those tyre choices. And it's a very medium looking board, as just 3 drivers do not go on the mediums. I'll run you through the grid anyway. Brad Mason's Haas, top of the tree from Swanton, the championship leader in P2. Syme is 3rd for Williams. The top 3 in the championship, the top 3 on the grid today. Sloth up in P4 for Aston Martin. Mr. Pickles Ferrari is 5th, from King Kong in the Red Bull in 6th. Smug is in P7 next to his teammate, the Pro-Am Championship leader, and one of the ones who's not on medium tyres. As you can see, he is on the softs. That's Senna in P8. Colin is P9, and Levi rounds off the top 10. Then on hard tyres, it's Joker in the Mercedes. Al Newt is next to him in P12 for AlphaTauri. Miller Vanilla down in 13th place for Red Bull, alongside Skippy in the Haas, who is on the hard tyre as well. Then it's 50 Gent in the Mercedes, followed by Easy Life, who for some reason has fallen behind Ninjas on this lap. Sainsy is in 18th place, and Roddy the Kid rounds them off in P19 for Alpine. Our newest subscriber here on Blobby TV. So they start to reach the grid then. How many disqualifications do we think we're going to see for parking today? There's usually 2 or 3. Ninjas. As you see, Sainsy and Roddy just joining the back there. Hopefully no glitching this week. There we go. Can't actually see the lights, but we're underway anyway, and Swanton gets a really good launch. Terrible camera view. Swanton gets a really good launch and gets into the lead. Swanton leads into turn 1. Brad's coming round the outside of contact. Contact, and off goes Swanton. Swanton off at turn 1. There was contact there with Brad on the inside. Syme is second. Smug has had a terrific start. He's up to 3rd. Colin in 4th from Sloth. Then it's Senna. Senna going up the inside of Colin, of Sloth here. Trying to use the extra grip on those soft tyres, and Sloth just got barged a little bit out of the way there. Sloth in 6th from Joker. Then King Kong, Al Newt, Miller Vanilla. Levi from Skippy, then Sainsy. Ninjas passing Easy Life. 50 Gent also passing Easy Life. Skippy going for Levi. Miller going for Al Newt. Bit of contact and dive from the Ferrari, and Al Newton wasn't giving that place up. Sainsy up the inside of Skippy. It's all go. Mr. Pickle must have lost a lot of places as well at the start. I didn't see that. Al Newton's into the pit lane. And Swanton at the back. So an interesting start. Mr. Pickle must have lost out on some time. The pit strategies are saying soft medium or soft hard or wide. There went Colin. And Senna's going to say thank you very much. And Garp is inside. Senna up to P4. The Alpha Tauris the Alfa Romeos, sorry, having a great time so far. The Alpha Tauris not having a great time so far. Brad leads from Syme, getting closer and closer to him. Bit of a gap forming back to Smug, who's got Senna, Colin, Sloth, Joker, and King Kong all for company. Good evening, Adkins, in the chat. He'll be joining us in Shanghai shortly. Brad sets the fastest lap off of the race. Ready onto lap 3. Senna is going for it on Smug here, and Senna is up to P3 past his teammate. Mr. Pickle's fighting his way through the field. Skippy and Sainsy side by side. 50 Gent looks on. Colin now going for a move on Smug. And Colin up to P4. Smug's gone wide and might lose more places. Having to defend from Sloth, Joker, King Kong. Mr. Pickle and Skippy now side by side. Mr. Pickle lost out to Ninjas as well there. Sloth looking for a move. Swanton starting his fight back from the back after contact with Brad Mason in turn 1. Syme has got DRS here. Is he going to get enough to make a pass on Brad? He looks like he is, and Syme takes the lead of the race. Syme into the lead from Brad. A couple of seconds back to Senna, then it's Colin. Smug, who is defending from Sloth, Joker, King Kong at the moment. Then Miller Vanilla up into 9th with Levi in 10th. Sainsy's up a lot of positions. He's 11th. He started at the back. Another move for Swanton, going past Ninjas and up into P15 now. He's trying to fight his way back through the field. Syme sets the fastest lap of the race, but he still might be caught by DRS by Brad here, and Brad retakes the lead of the race. Syme not giving it up easily though. Sloth and Joker going at it. And King Kong goes up the inside of Joker, but Syme and Brad side by side again. And Brad manages to keep it for now. Further back in the field, there's Smug being challenged still by Sloth. Levi has passed Joker now, who may have caught some damage. Joker will try and have a look. Can't see on those angles. Indeed, he has broken a plate of that front wing on the right hand side. Has Joker. And being on the hard tyre, that was not part of his strategy at all. Syme retaking the lead. Joker in the pits then. Then dropping right down the field as you'd expect. Brad close to the back of Syme now. Good battle these two are having at the head of affairs. King Kong and Sloth remain stuck behind Smug at the moment. Changing places while they're there as well. Sloth and King Kong. And Joker rejoins right at the very rear of the field. Miller and Levi have now caught this battle, this train of cars behind Smug. And there's a bit of a train forming behind Sainsey also in P10 with 50, Skippy, Swanton, Mr. Pickle and Ninjas all there. Brad's going to go for the lead again. And he does so. Brad retakes the lead. Brad and Syme having a continual battle at the moment. And Syme looking to go back at him. Can Sloth get it done on Smug this time? Yes, he can. He can indeed. Smug defends from King Kong. And King Kong might drag race him. Almost. But not quite. King Kong stays behind. Skippy and Sainsey are scrapping. We've got to keep an eye on those leaders as they come to the straight once again. DRS may cause another position change. Senna holding it out well at the moment in P3 as Syme passes Brad once again. King Kong now passing Smug. And Levi passing Miller Vanilla. We'll try to bring you all the battles and not just the one going on with the leaders. As Smug always seems to take a different line through that particular section to everybody else. Almost looks like he's run wide, but then he slots back in without losing any time. See just how close they are on that particular camera angle. Levi looking for the outside of Smug, and what a move that is. And Smug, a bit of contact possibly with Miller Vanilla, or a bit of a slide anyway. Miller now up his inside, and Smug losing places. Brad passes Syme again into turn one. That's where it's all seemingly happening. Mr. Pickle's in the pits. And picks up a speeding penalty. This is 50 Gent. He's in amongst the battles. He's got himself past Sainsey and he's about to get himself past Smug. Smug struggling at the moment and dropping down the field. 50 Gent now past Smug. Sainsey, Skippy and Swanton all queue behind. Swanton now in P13 after his first corner accident. And he might want to try something different to get out of this traffic, because it's not helping him at the moment. As Ninjas went a bit wide in behind. Skippy and Sainsy very close together. And Smug into the pits. Smug into the pits. Swanton passes Skippy. And he might go for Sainsy as well. That's 2 for the price of 1 for Swanton. A candidate for overtake of the week, that one. And off! Off goes Sainsy and out of the race! Sainsy is out of the race. We've got a safety car. Not quite sure what caused that. We just saw in the back of shot Sainsy go straight on and into a wall. And that is Sainsy out of this race. Overs okay John is that in the chat saying Brad is unreal out in front. Well, Syme is keeping him honest. They're both in the pits now. As are Senna and Colin. I'd assume everybody's going to follow. Here's King Kong and Sloth going in. Levi's going in. Miller's going in. Going to be a double stack problem for Red Bull, I think. 50. Skippy's continued. And is Skippy going to get all the way to the lead here? Yes, he is. Skippy leads this race. Skippy takes the lead of the race. Swanton is rejoining in P10. Skippy's been disqualified. Skippy has obviously overtaken the safety car and he has been disqualified. So he was the only one to not pit, which then meant he'd lead, and I think he's gone past the safety car, and unfortunately that means he's been disqualified. So not what the constructors leading Haas team wanted to see. Brad could have perhaps utilised Skippy's help there in his battle with Syme, but not any longer, as Skippy becomes our second DNF of the race. Safety car will go round for another lap as Al Newt is still catching the field. Everybody has gone for hard tyres now, apart from Senna on mediums. Mr. Pickle, who pitted a couple of laps ago for mediums. Roddy the Kid has come out on softs. In fact, he's pitting again. And Joker is on mediums. And Roddy's picked up a penalty in the pit lane now. Speeding penalty for Roddy the Kid. And he now goes with the rest and goes to the hard tyres to presumably last to the end of the race. About 20 or so racing laps left. Field well and truly backed up now. So the safety car should be leaving us at the end of this lap, and it is indeed. So Syme will take the pacing of the field.
Make-up circuit for Barcelona, Catalonia. The 2 DRS zones on the circuit will allow the cars to hit over 330 km/h.
Could Senna be at an advantage here with mediums rather than hard tyres? Could he maybe make an impact on the front too? Colin quietly going about his business. He's in 4th place, ahead of Sloth, King Kong and Levi, who's climbed the field quite well into P7. Swanton is back in the top 10. We'll go with Syme as he leads them away. And I think Mr. Pickle's going to have to give some places back. I think he went too early. Syme then leads from Brad. Senna indeed is going to have a look for Brad here. Joker coming to some problems further back. Senna and Colin getting very close to the back of Brad. Joker's right down near the back now. And a bit of a wobble there from Senna, just pushing too hard. And Colin might fancy it as an opening here. Syme managed a second gap over Brad. Senna now trying to break the slipstream of Colin. Colin follows through. Follows Senna through there. Doesn't get the pass. And nobody in fact got any passes there. Just shows the DRS strength. Because without it, no overtakes that time. Joker has come back out of the pits on soft tyres. He's had a troublesome race so far, has the Mercedes driver. Everybody in a line, as you can see. King Kong quite close into the back of Sloth. DRS will be enabled for the end of the lap. Mr. Pickles picks up a time penalty. He already was on the penalty board, and Swanton goes up the inside of 50 Gent and excuse me, up into P8. This tickly cough will not go away. King Kong and Levi closing in on Sloth. Very defensive line from Sloth, that. Keeping them behind him. Swanton and 50 Gent also right in with this party. With the DRS. And nothing doing for now as Sloth defends well. But is he going to be able to do that down the main straight when they've all got the super long DRS? Possibly not, would be my guess. Al Newt passes Smug. Sloth goes right to the inside, and that means King Kong has passed him. And so has Swanton. Is Levi going to make it a 3-far? No, he's forced wide and loses out to 50 Gent in the meantime. So Swanton's back up to P6 after getting knocked all the way to the back. Miller Vanilla now trying to join this little battle as Ninjas passes Mr. Pickle. And they're followed by Smug and Al Newt. Still a big train of cars here, all with DRS though. Mr. Pickle getting very close to the back of Ninjas. And Brad Mason off! Off goes Brad Mason! I'm not sure what happened there, but he's gone off. He's had a moment, and he's gone off, and he's dropped to P6, make that P7.
Got you tagged, bud.
Good evening to Baker in the chat, and a big dive from Levi on Brad, and they're both off. 50 Gent says thanks very much and passes both of them. Levi now passing Brad as well as Miller Vanilla. It's all gone a bit wrong for the Haas. Side by side, Brad and Miller. And Miller decides to get out of that one. We're saying good evening to Baker in the chat. Look forward to seeing you in Shanghai this evening. Just 3 races remain of that championship. Brad Mason now back up to P8 ahead of Levi. All that commotion, Swanton is now back up to 4th. Lap 18 of 33, Syme leads from Senna. Colin is 3rd from Swanton in P4. And it's King Kong Sloth, 50 Gent. Having a great race, he's P7 ahead of Brad in P8, then Levi in P9 and Miller Vanilla rounds off the top 10. Then it's Smug, Ninjas, Al Newt, Ronnie the Kid, Easy Life, Joker and Mr. Pickle, who's pitted once again. And he's running last of the 17 remaining runners, having lost Sainsey and Skippy. On board now with King Kong. We'll go to Brad because Brad is going to be trying to fight his way back through the field. He's all over the back of 50 Gent now. And we'll get a bit of DRS help to breeze by him. Al Newt also making a move on Ninjas. And up into P12. So Brad then up into P7. 50 has now got the attentions of Levi and Miller. Further forward, King Kong keeping Swanton company. Or trying to. With Sloth just behind. And Brad will hope to close that couple of seconds up and get after them. If Senna can go to the end on the medium tyres, then it'll be a terrific result for him. He's currently P2. Dominant in the Pro-Am division and picking up podiums in the overall races is Senna this season. Absolutely superb improvement from him. Here are Levi and Miller trying to get to 50 Gent. And Levi has a look and decides not to go for a mad dive as he did a couple of laps ago on Brad. Ninjas passing Al Newt. They're having a good little scrap, them two. King Kong has not managed to stay with Swanton, and in fact has now dropped back towards the clutches of Sloth. Well, he's trying to hound him down. Anyway, Miller looked at a late dive there. Thought better of it. Maybe it was a dummy, I'm not sure. And off there went 50 Gent. 50 Gent went off. And lost the place. And oh! That was Smug. Pushed very wide there and into the gravel. He was lucky that he only hit a foam board. King Kong and Sloth side by side. King Kong all over the curb, and Sloth goes by him. Brad has caught up very quickly with these two. Brad now hunting down King Kong and Sloth. Sloth, who got past King Kong through turns 1 and 2. Here we go for Brad. Then he's going to get this move, is he? King Kong has stayed within DRS of Sloth, but Brad is going to go by him anyway, and he might try a dive on Sloth. He thinks better of that one. And Brad is now up to P6. Smug still quite close behind Miller Vanilla. Al Newton Ninjas just behind. Brad now between Sloth and King Kong, who have battled for most of the race. Colin now closing in on Senna, as perhaps Senna's tyres could be going. Colin and Swanton both closing in. And off is 50 Gent. 50 Gent off again. He's lost a couple of places. Smug passes Ninja, passes Miller Vanilla, who's lost his front wing. Miller's lost his front wing. He must have collided with 50, and then through the gap goes Al Newt, and that sent Miller Vanilla flying into the wall. And he's lucky to be still going. And off now is Ninjas. Ninjas is in the wall. What is happening here? Ninjas went flying into the wall. Miller Vanilla was in the wall. 50 Gent also must have picked up damage because they're all in the pit lane. In fact, 50 is just on a quick stop for soft tyres. Miller Ninjas have both had to change wings. All of this has promoted Ronnie the Kid up to P11.
Wow, Miller.
That was a very strange incident. Meanwhile, Colin and Swanton are right now up with Senna for the podium places. Syme is a good 4 seconds clear. Into the pits goes Senna. Into the pits goes Senna. So Colin and Swanton back into the podium places. And as you can see, Brad's not far behind. Senna will drop down here. Behind Levi and Smug. And Senna's going to rejoin behind our Newt. Is Roddy going to get him? No, I think is the answer. So Senna rejoins in P10 just ahead of Roddy the Kid. You'd expect Senna now to have big pace on the softs for the rest of the race. So Brad has managed to get past Sloth. He's now in P4. Colin, quiet but efficient this race in the Alpine. He is P2 at the moment. But Swanton's going for him. And Swanton up the inside. Contact. As Swanton barges his way through into P2. It's now 5.5 seconds the gap for Syme. Brad is in 4th and still fending off as Colin's going back for Swanton. And Colin retakes the position but goes wide. And Swanton retakes the position. Colin overtook Swanton there to retake P2 but gave it straight back. And Swanton will have P2 from Colin. And Brad will be catching. Sloth and King Kong not giving up yet on the hope of a podium themselves. Levi is in P7 and leads the Pro-Ams. Smug is P8 from Al Newt and then Senna, whose strategy has not quite worked but will hope to be pacing in the last stint. Plenty still to be decided. Lap 25 of 33.
Syme is flying.
Syme is flying, absolutely right. Colin's going for it once again on Swanton. And the longer these two keep themselves occupied, surely the longer that Syme will just continue to increase the gap. Senna sets the fastest lap of the race and he got past Al Newt there. Next up for him, his teammate, as Mr. Pickle is in the pits for about the 400th time today. Not been the best of races for him. He'll bolt the softs on and go for a fastest lap attempt. Colin and Swanton. Swanton, lovely switch back. Great move. Great move by Swanton. But of course Colin will now have the DRS. Brad trying to close in on them. Sloth keeping up with Brad. He's doing a really good job to do that. Colin passes Swanton once again. Levi into the pits. Senna sets the fastest lap of the race as he retakes the lead of the Pro-Ams. With Levi pitting. Easy life up into the top 10 now. And Levi rejoins behind Roddy the Kid in P12. Senna has closed up to Smug very quickly. And I wonder if there'll be any team orders here. I wonder if somebody is in the ear of Smug saying, Senna is much faster than you. And indeed, Smug, look at that! Either he made a big mistake and went wide, or he was very generous in giving Senna the place. A little trip in the gravel, and Senna is past Smug. I'm not sure which that was. Swanton passes Colin this lap. Brad is getting closer and closer. Miller Vanilla picks up a penalty. He's outside the top 10 after that accident, which saw Heat 50 Ninjas all having to pit. Sloth doing a great job keeping up with Brad as Brad closes in on Colin, and Colin's picked up a time penalty, and that one is going to cost him a podium potentially. He's still trying to battle with Swanton. Brad's within a second now. Sloth still sticking to the back of Brad and trying to join the party here for this podium battle.
Yeah, walk me, yeah, this way.
Yeah, back to me.
Then we're good on the front, yeah.
Colin going for it on Swanton again. Levi passes Roddy the Kid. Let's continue this battle for second as it becomes a four-way battle very shortly. Brad's right there. Sloth trying his best to keep up. He's having a good race, the Aston Martin driver. Not seen him up in the upper echelons of a race for quite a while. Swanton, look at them now. Swanton and Brad. Mr. Pickle sets the fastest lap. Levi passes Easy Life. And back into the top 10. And what fun the DRS is going to be down this straight. Brad's right there. Swanton goes inside. Swanton takes P2. Brad also. Brad passes Colin as well. Swanton and Brad both pass Colin there. Sloth couldn't quite hang on, but is still within 3 seconds, so could claim P4 as a result of Colin's penalty. Syme looks to have the race sewn up. Senna is closing in on King Kong, and in fact on everyone, very, very quickly, but I think he's going to run out of laps. Joker into the pits again. He'll be looking for a fastest lap attempt, I assume. As we start lap 31 of 33 here. 3 laps to go, and Brad going for Swanton. Brad passes Swanton for P2. King Kong's dropped away from these front 5 now, should I say. Senna's pace seems to be easing off just at the wrong time as 50 Gent passes Roddy the Kid. Can Senna summon one last burst and get towards King Kong? Sloth looks like he's going to go for Colin. Of course, doesn't have to with Colin's penalty. But Sloth hasn't given up on maybe picking up a podium here. Al Newt picks up a penalty. Surely this is the time for Sloth. We'll keep an eye on it. Colin with no DRS. Swanton passes Brad and Sloth passes Colin. 2 laps to go. Sloth up into P4. Senna now a second and a half behind King Kong. And off is Levi. No, into the pit, sorry, is Levi. Saw a yellow flag and somebody losing places. And I put 2 and 2 together and come up with 12. Levi into the pits, 50 gent passing Easy Life up into the top 10. Bad day for Ferrari then, 15 and 16 at the moment. Colin hasn't given up, but the penalty is going to cost him. As you can see, King Kong and now Senna right in behind. Joker sets the fastest lap of the race. He's at the back of the field. 1 lap to go as they come round to start the final lap. Brad's going to make a move on Swanton. Back into P2 goes Brad. Back into P4 goes Colin. Senna was too far back to make a move on King Kong. Swanton is going to try and hound Brad into a mistake throughout this lap. The two of them, of course, came to blows on the first corner. Swanton went to the back of the field and came back again. Brad led, fought with Syme, then had an accident and ended up in P8, and he's fought back. Swanton with DRS, not going to be enough. Syme is coming into the final couple of corners, and it's been a faultless display from the Williams driver. Syme wins in Barcelona. Brad is going to come home for second ahead of Swanton, but only just. Colin will take P4. He won't take P4. Sloth takes P4. King Kong P5. Senna P6. Colin's penalty costs him three places there in P7. Smug finishes in P8. Al Newt will come home in P9. And 50 Gent will take the final of the top 10 positions. He will finish ahead of Easy Life in P11. Roddy the Kid in P12. In fact, Miller Vanilla takes P12 from Roddy due to penalties. Ninjas will come home next. Then Mr. Pickle. Levi. And finally, Joker. So the top 3 in the championship are on the podium again, but this time it's Syme taking the win. Brad Mason in P2 and Swanton in P3. A shout for Sloth, a great race from him in P4, and my fellow commentator King Kong in P5. And another Pro-Am win for Senna. 50 Gent, the driver of the day, according to the game. That brings us to a nice early end of DRS Mondays. So, going to have a nice little break now. And then, from 10 PM, it's Blobby Mondays time in Shanghai. But we'll leave you with the classified result then. Syme for Williams, P1. Brad Mason for Haas in second. Swanton for AlphaTauri third. From Sloth in fourth for Aston Martin. King Kong for Red Bull in fifth. Senna, Alfa Romeo, Pro-Am winner, P6. Colin, P7 for Alpine. Smug, P8 for Alfa Romeo. Al Newt, a podium in the Pro-Am, P2 for that, P9 overall, and 50 Gent takes P3 for the Pro-Ams and P10 overall for Mercedes. Then it was Easy Life, Miller Vanilla, Roddy the Kid, Ninjas, Mr. Pickle, Levi and Joker, who set the fastest lap of the race, but pitted 5 times and was a lap down almost, not quite. The DNS were Sainsy and Skippy. So that brings us to the end of DRS Mondays. I'll be back at 10 PM from Shanghai for Blobby Mondays. And then Thursday from 8 PM, DRS Goes Extreme. Back here